is seriously hoping that Shang-Chi drops on the second weekend like F9, Black Widow, and Space Seven New Legacy. Whereas again, they completely ignored the fact that F9, a movie that they completely and utterly praised, dropped just as bad as a movie that they completely hated and despised, Black Widow, and especially Space Time: A New Legacy. Everybody hated that movie. I said the movie was going to drop very badly, but the fandom menace said it was the greatest movie ever because it beat Black Widow at the box office. And it beat Black Widow, so it's a masterpiece. That's essentially their reasoning. And he said, male gaze wins again. Okay, nobody gives a crap about male gaze. Okay, nobody gives a crap except for perverts and people who watch porn. Okay, but they are hoping. Yes, I am serious that Shang-Chi will drop massively at the box office because they're so salty over success of Shang-Chi. They're so angry over it. That is just so sad. It's so sad. Again, this movie doesn't really have any real competition until October 1st, when Venom Let There Be Carnage is coming out, because there's no real huge movies coming out. And no, Malignant is just another horror movie. It's going to take money from Candyman, not Shang-Chi, okay? Horror movie audiences are different than superhero people who watch action superhero movies. But, oh my god, they are hoping that Shang-Chi drops at the box office because they want to be proven right that Shang-Chi will flop and lose. And but same thing, they continue to push the failed Black Widow flop narrative, but they will ignore actual flops like Space Jam: A New Legacy, flopping, and Snake Eyes. They didn't really talk about that movie, and especially Suicide Squad. They talked about it at the beginning and they just completely forgot about it. And they said, comic book movies are done because the Suicide Squad, a sequel to a movie that nobody liked, and a spin-off that nobody liked, and it's fine, they finally made a good Suicide Squad movie and nobody wanted to see it, essentially. Okay? But they are pissed. And Shang-Chi's not going to drop 70%. If people like a movie, it's not going to have a massive second weekend drop. Okay, when you compare it to, let's just say, F9, which most people didn't really like it, it is considered the worst Fast and the Furious movie by many people. Space Jam: A New Legacy, and even Black Widow had far lower audience scores than this movie. Okay, on of course IMDb. We're not using the Poopy Tomatoes audience score because Poopy Tomatoes is always a rigged score, it's always a rigged score. So let's just compare Shang-Chi to other movies. First movie is Jungle Cruise. Okay, so Jungle Cruise current score is 6.6, so it's not really that impressive. So that is probably one of the only outliers. But we can compare it to Space Jam: A New Legacy. Okay, a movie that the fandom has praised and called a masterpiece because it beat Black Widow at the box office. Here is your average scores for Space Jam: A New Legacy: 4.4 out of 10, and a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, 4.4 on IMDb, and the fandom has completely ignored this movie, dropping that hardly. Okay, and the other movie we could compare it to is F9. 9, The Fast Saga. Okay, 5.2 on IMDb, dropped 70% at the box office. Okay, Shang-Chi is coming at an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. Shang-Chi is not at the same score as F9 and Space Jam: A New Legacy. And ironic that they loved both of those movies. They loved Space Jam: A New Legacy because it beat Black Widow, and that's and they didn't talk about how the movie flopped. None of them talked about the fact that people didn't like the movie. Nobody liked the movie, and no one saw it. Talk about Space Jam: A New Legacy. F9, that movie was a success. So even though the IMDb said that the movie sucked, the movie was still a big success domestically and internationally, that it didn't lose any money at all. But the fandom is hoping that this movie drops like Black Widow F9, Space Jam: A New Legacy, The Suicide Squad. Forgot that movie even there. That movie dropped like 71% as well. They're hoping that it will drop like those movies because they want to be proven right. I think that Shang-Chi will probably drop like 58 or 57%, like your average movie typically does, 50 to 60%. That's like your average movie drop. Anything, 40 to 60% is like your average movie drop. Anything below 40% is doing pretty well. Okay, and then anything below 60% is doing pretty horribly. Okay, we'll go at the numbers here. And we can see all the movies that have came out this year that have dropped massively. Okay, Candyman, that's on the second week, 53%. That's like an average drop for a movie, essentially. Paw Patrol, 49%, another average drop, essentially. Pokey and Night House dropped 44-58%, average drop. Reminiscence, 59%, that's really more of a big drop. There, actually, I think it's 40 to 55%. Then we have Don't Breathe 2, 52%, 57% for Respect. And Free Guys, 45%, so it means Free Guy having good legs. Jungle Cruise, no, Suicide Squad drops 11%. Okay. And previous chart, okay, Jungle Cruise, 55%, and Jungle Cruise is still a success, domestically at least, not really internationally, it bombed internationally, essentially, Stillwater, 45%, The Green Knight, 61%, previous chart, here, Old, 59%, and Snake Eyes, 70%, which I feel bad that movie kind of dropped like that. It's pretty bad. Feel pretty bad for the people who made that movie. They worked so much and spent so much money on that movie, and no one watched it, essentially. And of course, we have Space Jam: A New Legacy, which again, this is something they ignore. 69% escape room, 60%. I'm thinking Shang-Chi will probably drop like 50 to 59%. 55% does like Jungle Cruise did or similar amount, and you have Black Widow, 68% drop, which again, there were 2 new movies that came out, and that, there. And the previous chart, we're gonna go over these last ones here. Boss Baby and Forever Purge dropped 45 and 43% respectively, essentially. And Boss Baby, and yeah, we go Fast Saga, 67% drop. Spirit, Fast Saga. We're gonna actually go back to Quiet Place. Hitman, 57%. Here, Peter Rabbit, 40%. And In the Heights, 63% drop. At the box office, and yeah, actually Conjuring movies done that week. Conjuring, 57%, and Spirit Untamed, 58% drops. And again, A Quiet Place Part 2, 59%, which is a movie that the fandom menace praised, but still dropped 59%. So it could probably drop. Shang-Chi will probably make like 35 million in the second weekend, which is pretty good. It'll pass 100 million. It'll probably make like 120 to 140 million on its next weekend, and likely make 260 million worldwide, which means automatically this movie could be Shang-Chi could become a box office success. And because there's really no movies coming out in the next couple of weeks until Venom, Shang-Chi will probably have pretty good legs in the weeks afterwards, essentially. So yeah, Shang-Chi, no matter what the fandom ass says, is going to be a box office success. It's not going to be a box office failure like the fandom menace has been pushing, okay? And you look at the legs, it's doing all the way overperforming. Well, again, that's because of Labor Day weekend. So we're going to have to track the weekday box office to see if the movie's having abysmal legs or good legs. So that's basically about this video. Goodbye.